What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Jump. As you know, brothers and sisters, we have a myriad of African-American politicians, prominent political leaders, some of them working in the federal government, our state government, in the United States. And because of that, they get a lot of praise, okay? To become a mayor of a city or a state's attorney or city's attorney, that's hard to do. And usually you would think that these people will be safe if they're in the Democratic Party, because most of these cities are majority Democrat. And that is the case with Tiffany Henyard. Tiffany Henyard is from Dolton, Illinois, in the village of Dolton, or dare I say, in Thornton Township. You will not find a Republican doing anything there. It is Democratic country, okay? So with that being said, if you win the Democratic primary, you will win the election, because everybody votes Democrat. You would think that all of these people can get along. That's not necessarily true, okay? And this is the case also with Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby. Now, Marilyn Mosby is actually from Boston, moved to Baltimore, and she was responsible for prosecuting the police officer with the Freddie Gray shooting. Now, after which, she, during COVID, obviously did something that a lot of people did. She took out some money from her own deferred compensation retirement account. Then she wanted to buy a house in Florida. She had her husband gift her $5,000 of her own money to buy the house. She was then caught up on those two charges of fraud. Lost the case, okay? She will no longer be able to be a lawyer ever again. She was facing 40 years in prison, right? I want you to hear a part of this MSNBC interview, and then I'm gonna come back.
As one of the few black state attorneys, Marilyn Mosby took a number of political risks during her 8-year tenure. She moved to decriminalize sex work and marijuana. She established programs to provide nonviolent drug offenders with alternatives to incarceration, and even started one of the country's only youth and prevention departments. But it wasn't until after her push to prosecute the officers who killed Freddie Gray that she found herself on the other side of the courtroom, convicted of fraud for withdrawing funds from her own Baltimore deferred compensation retirement account, something 739 other city employees, including 3 people who worked in the same agency as Attorney Mosby, did during the pandemic. Yet she was the only one prosecuted and now faces up to 40 years in prison. Marilyn Mosby joins me now. I guess the first most obvious question is, how are you doing? This must have hit you like a Mack truck.
I mean, first and foremost, I'm blessed. And so thank you for having me on. Yeah, it's still an incredibly sobering moment, right? I've done absolutely nothing wrong, nothing illegal, nothing criminal.
This was your money. Was there any public money involved in this transaction?
No, absolutely not. This was not, despite how I've been vilified, when the gag order was in place and I was unable to defend myself. It's just not PPP loans. This is not a COVID relief funding. This was the money that I was putting away every 2 weeks in a retirement savings account. And I was advised I could withdraw from this fund. There was, the person that testified, the government witness, got on the stand and said all I needed to do was suffer a $50 adversity.
Right.
And I had more than a $50 adversity as a result of COVID. So I didn't even take the stand once that came out, right? And it's like, obviously, I'm not going to be convicted. I know that this was politically targeted, and it was sobering.
So this is what I'm trying to make the case today. This is Marilyn Mosby out of Baltimore, a bigger city than Dolton. She's done, in my honest opinion, nothing different than what anybody else would do, but she has enemies. And when you have enemies, depending on where you at, these things can happen, okay? Now, here's the question. If Marilyn Mosby can face 40 years in prison for just taking money out of her account, what do you think will happen to Tiffany Henyard? You see, let me just say this. Pride comes before the fall, all right? Even before the fall. See, this lady used her own money. Tiffany Henyard is using everybody else's money. Like if you need an example of that, here we go.
But there's a big problem with who paid for Henyard to be here. these appropriations are misappropriations.
We showed credit card statements for the trip to veteran municipal lawyer Bert Odelson, who represents Dalton trustees opposed to Henyard.
Every time I say I can't believe that she would do something, here comes another.
We found more than $9,000 in charges for the U.S. Conference Mayor's meeting, including conference fees, flights to Washington, D.C., hotel rooms that were all charged to a credit card belonging to Thornton Township, a completely separate unit of government.
So this is somebody else's money Tiffany Henyard is spending. Someone else's cash. Then talking back, talking trash, doubling down, as if she's done no wrong. Where you have this lady who's going down for using her own money. And these people don't know what's in store for them. Like, let me just say this. When you have political enemies, and this is one of the things that a lot of black politicians need to understand, or business people. Look at Diddy. Diddy fell largely, of course, because of his own actions, okay? But not only his own actions, look at this. Diddy fell because of his own arrogance. Diddy fell because of his own arrogance, okay? And Diddy had a lot of enemies. All of these people wanted to see Diddy fall. Of course, he's rich, he's successful, right? But look at what Tiffany Henyard's doing. She's nasty, okay? She's hateful. There is nobody who wants to see Tiffany Henyard fall. Then I would say a lot of people in Dalton, of course me, but there are people who literally hate her in Thornton Township. There are people who hate her across the world. She's gotten more traction than Marilyn Mosby. Now, Marilyn Mosby will only get home detention for 12 months. But her career is ruined. No matter what she did that was not wrong, she's ruined. She's looking for a pardon. I don't think that she got it from Joe Biden. Marilyn Mosby's done. Hang it up. Her political career, her law practice career is done. She does have a following. She had people that support her, but it's done. Unless she wants to become a pastor. She divorced her husband. That's over with. So Marilyn Mosby, unless she is, really lucky, it's over for her. And in my opinion, I don't see really what's so wrong that she did. Besides not understanding that when you're in politics, you got enemies. A lot of them, okay? And you gotta understand that this is how you gotta do things. When you have money, you have influence, you're gonna get enemies. Why doesn't somebody tell Tiffany Henyard that if she won't listen, okay? Tiffany Henyard and everybody associated with her are going to get football numbers. They didn't just steal $5,000. They have stolen millions. They stole millions of dollars, okay? A lot of money from the government, from state governments. Like, they just ain't just steal like from the state, the federal funds, then go out there and trick it off. How ridiculous can you be? Well, if you're Tiffany Henyard, you can be very ridiculous, right? So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.